everybody. So on Saturday, this last Saturday, November the 6th, 2021, the channel Extra Slope posted an interview with Tommy Tallarico about the Amico. It is a very long interview. It's like 2 hours and 40 plus minutes. Tommy loves to ramble when he talks, so it's kind of tedious to go through the whole interview, but there were some notable things that came out of it that I wanted to highlight. I'm going to highlight 3 of them in this video. The first is some clarification how the physical products work, those RFID cards that I, wasn't quite expecting. So this is what they had to say.
Because I need to clarify because I want to get in the weeds here. You tap it on your system, boom. Now that it's on your system, right? You can take your system offline. And all of the digital games that you downloaded, you don't need internet connection to play any of your games once you've downloaded.
Okay.
Let me repeat that again. You don't need an internet connection to play any game on Amico after you've downloaded it the first time. Now, if your system is offline, you will have to tap the card on the system to prove that you still own that game. Okay. Just like you would take any cartridge. If you owned a cartridge, you'd have to put it in the system each time. Now, if you're connected to the internet,
yeah,
then you don't have to tap it on the system every time. You don't. Okay? Because it's online and it knows that you own it.
So that was kind of interesting. I don't know if you caught that. And by the way, in these videos, I try to show you the times in the videos so that if you want to see the context, you can do that yourself. But I didn't know that if you're offline and you already used the card to download the game, that now you have to use the card again every time you want to play it when you're offline only. And that seems a little tedious, a little cumbersome. I'm guessing they do that as like an anti-piracy measure, because they did say that if you took the card and you sold it to somebody else, theoretically they could have it on your system. Once they download it on their system, you could still have it on your system if you're offline. So this is a way to get around that, but it just seems like I said, a tedious thing for someone to do on a system that's basically digitally based. They also talked about how the code that's on the back of the card is not needed unless you're transferring it. So the only time you need the code is if someone else buys it, like off of eBay, and they say, well, if you want to transfer it, now you have to put in the code that's on the card. So Tommy was saying it's not a big deal. People are showing their codes off because people can't just download it. So I guess the code is tied to that specific RFID card. At least I hope it is. But, some criticism of the physical products is the case. A lot of people say the case is kind of flimsy. So imagine if you're offline. Now, for most people, it's not going to be an issue. They're going to be online all the time. But imagine if you're offline, you have to constantly get that card out of the case and it's flimsy. You're going to wear out that special collector's edition case pretty quickly, I'm guessing. So the next part, Tommy talks about what the 6th game is.
What is the 6th game? But if you've got a plan in place, you're not going to be telling me.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'd love to be able to share it with everyone, but I'll say it's a party game and it's freaking hilarious.
Are you able to say what type of party game it is? Are we talking like Mario Party? Are we talking Wii Sports? Are we talking?
No, it's kind of like if you were to. I don't even know how to categorize it because it's a game that I helped to create and design. I guess you would put it in kind of like a technology board game category, but not really. So like, whereas Mario Party, I would say that's like a lot of little mini arcade games,
sure.
Right? But if you think of like Pictionary, where people are taking turns and creating stuff, it's more in that vein.
Yeah, so I think he's talking about emoji charades. So this is, the system's supposed to come with 6 free games. They have kept the 6th game a secret for like a year or something like that. It's been a long time. And I have, watched some of the very pro Amico channels, people who are so excited about it. They've gone to the events, they've actually played it. Tommy, in some cases, has come to their home and they actually played the system. And I have heard these people say that Emoji Charades is surprisingly fun. It's a really great game. And so everything he says, Emoji Charades is like Pictionary, except instead of drawing pictures to get people to guess a phrase or a word, you're using emojis to get people to guess a phrase or a word. This seems to fit the bill. Now, I will say, after waiting a whole year, this might be a letdown to some. It's not a big name game. To have to wait so long just to find out it's Emoji Charades seems kind of mind-boggling. My guess is possibly they didn't know what the 6th game was, and they were, play testing it with various groups to see which game was the most popular. So it's not going to be a deal maker or breaker. I don't think people who are on the fence about the Amico are going to be like, oh, Emoji Charades, now I have to get it, because I'm guessing most people haven't had experience with this game, and they won't unless they actually play it. And once they play it, they might like it, but for such a long wait, it's a little bit of a letdown. Finally, Tommy talks about the launch date. We've had 3 different dates. Currently, we don't have a date. He was asked basically any clarification when the system's finally going to come out. We haven't heard anything since the last delay. This is what he had to say.
Have you got a rough idea when this thing is actually going to be released?
A rough idea? Sure. Q1 of 2022.
Okay.
And we hope to have good news and more information about that over the next 7 to 10 days. So sign up to our mailing list, because those people will be getting the information first. And I can say with confidence that I'll say over the next 2 weeks. How about that? Just to give myself some room. But I'll say over the next 2 weeks, we'll be having, we'll be making we'll be giving information, updated information. And again, to us, it's good news. So that's something there.
That's something there. So basically he's saying he's estimating, he's not giving a solid timetable, but his best guess is the first quarter of next year. So I did a video where I talked about, using math to figure out when the system would come out. I do believe it is going to come out. I know some people believe it will never come out. I do believe that some of the hopefuls who were thinking that it would come out this year, I think they will be let down. I do not think it will come out this year. I said in my video that I thought it would either come out spring or summer of 2022. So that kind of falls in line with what he's saying. He did say later on that the Founders Edition people will get their system first. I guess we'll have to wait and see, of course, when it will finally come out. So when he says first quarter, that could be January, February, or March of 2022. So March would put it around springtime. Will it come out then? We shall wait and see. I mean, they could surprise us and say it's coming out in January, but of course, probably the worst time to release a new product is right after the holidays, when people have spent their money on Christmas gifts and they don't have a lot of extra money. You want to give people a little bit of time for that. So I'm still thinking that those people who pre-ordered the system, who want it in 2021, I don't think they're going to get it. We haven't heard anything, but he says in 2 weeks that we're going to get more information. So that should be just around the corner. Hopefully they stick to that. So there you go. That's just some of the updates I got out of this massively long interview. There's something else I want to talk about, but I'm going to make a dedicated video for that so I can go a little bit deeper into that. So let me know, what do you think? Do you think it's kind of crazy? You're going to have to tap the console with the card after you already downloaded it if you're offline? Do you think that's a big deal or not? Are you excited, or what do you think about the 6th game being Emoji Charades or something along those lines? Do you think that's a good or bad thing? And what do you think about the launch date? Do you think we'll see it in the first quarter of 2022? Let me know in the comments below. Go ahead, click like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.